Good morning. Hello to everybody here. Welcome to another Kerfuffle showcase. Chris May, welcome. Chris from Residential People. How the devil are you, sir? You all right?
I'm good, thanks, Simon. Yeah, just good. Just walked into my bedroom, out of my bedroom into the office. So our offices are in Canary Wharf, so I'm still working from home at the moment. I'm not in any rush to get on a tube or DLR train at the moment.
I'm not seeing too many people doing it, to be honest. Yeah, it's still a bit challenging out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chris, we obviously had you on the portal discussion show the other day, just a while back. It was really interesting to hear. Obviously, as one of the challenger portals, do you want to just give us sort of? Well, first of all, let's start off with your background, Chris. What's your background, and then we'll come on to Residential People.
Okay, so my background's mainly financial services. So I was quite successful in the noughties. I was probably one of the biggest mortgage distributors in the country, or the biggest. Our main clients were people like Lehman Brothers and, just before the crunch. But we used to do thousands and thousands of buy-to-let mortgages. And basically that's the main background. I've also had a stake in an agency as well. I used to own a stake in a well-known franchise, so I've got a bit of a state agency background as well. But my background's really sort of in the marketing side, sort of digital marketing, growing inquiries. So that's kind of where I've been B2B and B2C. Yeah, I'm getting on a bit now, so I've got a lot of experience under my belt.
No, because if I can refer to myself as a properties Peter Pan, you've got a long way to go yet. Don't worry about that.
I know it's your birthday recently, so I think I'm just 3 years older than you by the looks of it.
Good. Okay, well that's dated, I suppose. It's when you start filling out surveys and suddenly you start etching into those upper ones, you start panicking, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to spin the wheel.
And talk us through Residential People. Talk us through. So, how long has it been going? Give us a bit of background about what you felt. What you felt was needed. You know, we touched on that, the Challenger Portals point. Just give us an overview of where that comes from.
Yeah, so as I said, I've been involved in sort of finance and property for say 30 years. The initial idea came actually on the commercial property side, and we launched Commercial People because we recognised an opportunity that there wasn't anyone particularly specialising in the commercial aspect. The residential people aspect came after, but we just think there is real opportunities with the technology that we're building to, as you said, challenge the current duopoly in the UK. There's a huge scope. There's a huge amount of money in the industry, and so we decided to obviously launch our portal on a free to list model. Worth noting, we're not just in the UK, so we take ideas as well from other countries. We're also listing in the UAE, South Africa, and we're in India as well. So when I'm in the lockdown in particular, my Zoom meetings were involving not just obviously UK agents, but I was talking to agents in South Africa, in the UAE, saying what's going on. And they love our model.
You had a bit of international panache in there, and just
international panache. But we've been very clever. We're only going into countries that speak English as the main language. And if you've been to India or the UAE, everyone speaks English anyway. So it's not a problem. But they love our model because every country has the same agents have the same issues, and they feel that they're not getting we're not getting value for money, but they're being charged too much to list their properties. So. We've been proven right so far. We've got just under 1 million listings on our site at the moment. We're a .com site, and we've done the .com site purely from an SEO point of view because our game plan is in the next 3 years is to have 10 million listings. So 10 million property inventories on our sites in the next 3 years, which should give us a good page authority. In the search rankings.
And is the concept of having that international kind of element there, that there will be interest, reciprocal business from those countries as well? Or is you seeing an opportunity for a global business?
Yeah, I mean, very much so. I mean, first of all, we want to be local. So, if Mrs. Jones wants to, a buy to let, or to rent a property in Durham, we want to be there. But equally, if somebody in London is looking for an office in Cape Town, or a wealthy investor wants to buy a property in London from Cape Town, or the UAE, then we're geared up for that as well. We're also geared up that we on the advertising scale, because obviously as we get more traction and we get more views, and it's a well-known fact that property sites are one of the most viewed sites out of all of the industries apart from social media. We're hoping to attract sort of advertisers like HSBC and the likes to come on the site purely because of the views we're getting. We've just done a partnership as well with Facebook Marketplace. So we do a lot of advertising. We've got a big budget for marketing this year. So we're doing a lot of social media marketing, but obviously going on to the Facebook Marketplace now allows us to upload our listings to there as well. So agents can get obviously a lot more exposure, because I know obviously agents are very keen now on their Facebook ads and things like that. Well, they can go on and we can upload their properties for free. So everything's going well. The inquiry levels have gone through the roof. I think as a portal, we generated in the last 30 days, we've generated around 90,000 inquiries for agents for sales and lettings, which is fantastic. We've got one agent, our record agent, in the last 30 days received 680 inquiries. So, he hasn't rang me up and said thank you yet.
You know why they won't do that? Because of course, the minute they do that, they'll start thinking, God, they're going to start charging us loads, don't you? That's the problem.
Yeah. But what we've done is we're working on a lot to do with the digital marketing. As I say, I've got a bit of a digital marketing background, but for an agent like that, if we continued on the same sort of realm, we'd probably, that's giving him 24,000 consumer data information over the next 3 years. Now, how we're seeing it is that obviously, I live in a place called Bromley, which is a postcode of BR2. Yeah. So in Bromley, there's 20,000 households. Now, obviously, like a lot of people now, it's the buzzword, the property data. Yeah, we've got information on 20,000 houses. Yeah, we've got that. We know where that's coming from. But I'm more interested in the 20,000 households, the consumers. Have I got their data? Have I got permission to market to them? Because the way I see it, and this is what we're building sort of in the background, is that if I can market in a GDPR compliant fashion to those 20,000 households via social media, via their mobile phones, via web push-ups, etc., any agent that I give that sort of data to is going to be able to win a lot more instructions and obviously get a lot more exposure for their agency. So we kind of want to go not the way that a lot of portals are going, which is like there's 24,000 agents, give me all of them. We just want to work really with one agent in each postcode, and that's what we're building this new lead nurturing system for.
Will that be postcode exclusivity, or at least for the lead generation side of things, or are you going to just allow it to develop to multiple agents?
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're building the site so that. Basically, what we want to do is we're getting a tremendous amount of data on our site at the moment. So what we want to try and do is share that data with a local agent. So we would, you're right, we would basically get one agent per postcode or per location. We're currently in the process as well of improving our search. So I will have postcode polygons and for all of the postcodes, all of the locations. So anyone doing a search on our site can basically consumer can search, more importantly, with pinpoint accuracy, but it also allows us, as I've just said, to say, right, okay, do you want the BR2 postcode? There's 20,000 households, there's 45,000 population. Let's work together, let's share our data. We've built a site that basically where we can import that data or share that data with that agent. So over the next 3 years, if we can capture 60 to 70% of the households in that BR2 area, and we've created a system that basically can focus on and channel target marketing through various omni-channels. So all of the social media, the web push-up, WhatsApp, SMS, push-ups on their mobile, And we can do it in a very clever way that doesn't, we don't want to be overbearing and for them to unsubscribe, but it's a very clever way of getting referrals, getting them to come back to the site, getting them to come back to the agent site, and more importantly, finding out when they're going to sell or or if they want to buy. So that's the kind of data.
You mentioned a number of things there, because you mentioned the dreaded GDPR word, but we need to obviously be conscious of it. How do you dance around that very difficult GDPR compliance issue with that need to obviously deliver relevant information there, so that so that it is permission based? And how do you do that in a way that obviously isn't verging on becoming too spammy, without giving us all your secrets, of course?
Yeah, of course. So one example would be we're developing like a live chatbot. So somebody will come on our site. We're going to give that to the agent, and if that consumer has been on the site a number of times and they're looking at a particular property, we can basically divert that chatbot to the agent, so the agent can speak to the consumer in real time. But in a nutshell, it's being very clever with the pop-ups, being very careful with the disclaimers. We can even track people going on our website without even capturing the email. We can get a lot of data just from you clicking on the website without even clicking on a pop-up. But the next thing, as you rightly said, is enriching that data, making sure that you've got your GDPR compliant. But it's all about cleverly marketing what they want. All of the things I'm mentioning, the big retailers have been doing it for years and years. So really what I'm doing is I'm kind of, for want of a better word, I'm kind of stealing a lot of their ideas, because
every idea I've ever had has been nabbed. And I think you're right, though. Obviously, this is the one of the great things about this, seeing a bit of innovation. That's what was great about that Challenger Portal one, is one of the critiques that is often thrown at the big three in terms of the portals is that there is a lack of innovation there. We are seeing a tremendous amount of hugely exciting stuff going on in the wider world, the wider industry. It's taken a while to trickle down, but people like yourself are bringing that to play now, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what we want to do as well, though, is a lot of the tools that I see. I've spoken to hundreds of digital marketing agencies that have contacted me over the years as well, and I've picked up a lot from them. But what tends to happen is there's a lot of tools out there to target consumers and to convert open source data and paid data and things like that. But it tends to be very technical, and you do need to know what you're doing to use the software. So what we're basically doing is we're trying to make it simple, and without being condescending, almost like an SEO stroke consumer tool for dummies, if you like, that you can just go on, you can actively automate the marketing, make it very target specific, so that if a client is looking at a property, they're looking at a 2-bedroom in Durham, it will just basically track them, give that sort of information, give mortgage information, all of the stuff that they would find useful. And what I'm saying to a lot of agents out there is pay more attention to your data. And I'm not just saying not property data, but consumer data, because like I gave you the example of the agent that we've generated 680 inquiries for. I had a conversation with him and he said, "Chris, you're sending me too many inquiries, and a lot of them are kind of, I want to stable my horse in your 2-bedroom flat," or something like that, because you can't control, the internet. But what I say to him is, look, there's 680 inquiries last month that are looking for a property to buy or rent in that area. Do you not think that in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, they are going to come back because they're going to be looking for another property to let or buy, or they may sell, or they may have a sister that they want to refer to your agency? So the trick is to nurture every single lead that comes through. If I had sent an inquiry to an agent when I was 21, they would have looked at my profile and said, "Oh, this is a waste of time." But if they'd nurtured me, if they'd emailed me, kept in touch, I would have remembered that agent when the times were good and I was looking to buy. So that's what we kind of want to bring in.
And it strikes me you've got a tremendous amount of leads there in terms of obviously where you are as a portal in your journey there. How have you managed to nurture that level of leads at a relatively early stage of the business?
Well, at the moment, all of the things, I mean, we're putting into practice all of the things that I'm talking to you about, what we want to offer agents, we're obviously doing as a business anyway. So when somebody comes on the site, you know, we do send out, we do a lot of marketing, direct to consumer marketing, which basically makes the agent, and so we've proven it works. They come back to the site and things like that. Like I said, now I want to offer that, you know, to agents and grow the business. I mean, the big question, one of the things that the Challenger Portal session we had, if you remember, in lockdown, which was very interesting. There was myself and there was the other 5 Challenger Portals.
Yeah.
Was they said, well, the biggest question any agent always asks me is, well, how are you going to be Rightmove? And the answer to that is we're not going to be page 1 of 1. I'd hope that one day we can be, but certainly in the next 3-4 years, we're not going to do that. So there's a big difference between consumers that will go on Google or go on Rightmove because that's the place to go and they've been trained to do that, to what I'm proposing, which is take my postcode, for example, 20,000 households, a population of 45,000, is how can I get as much of that information as I can? And I'm doing it the other way around. I'm going to the consumer rather than the consumer coming to me. So I'm being more proactive. And that's how we envisage that over the next 3 years as a portal is we're going to grow out this huge database that we can harvest, we can enrich. An example of that would be going on to the quality of the leads, which we just mentioned. So we're developing a system at the moment. I can basically, with if you like, a machine learning tool, I can basically, if you came on my website, you do multiple clicks, you go to various places of my website, I'll be able to detect over 3 or 4 sessions, is there a likelihood that this guy wants to sell a property? Is there a likelihood that this guy wants to buy a property? And what we're trying to build is that we want to basically almost send out a pre-approval on a lead. So I can sit with that lead, I can say this client has a 75% chance that he's serious, that he either wants to sell or he wants to buy. So that if an agent has 680 inquiries, they can go through those good ones first, the ones that are over 80%, and the ones that are kind of 20%, they can take a flyer on it, or they can just send a simple email.
This, Chris, this is then essentially that lead scoring, that propensity to buy, propensity to engage model that, of course, marketeers are obsessing over and can get very, very, very powerful results from if you understand that sort of thing properly.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny, Simon, because you just said propensity to buy. I mean, propensity. Somebody spoke to me about that about a year ago, and I said, "Is that Latin? What does it mean?" You know. So you know, I talk to like yourself. I talk to hundreds of suppliers. So I always think you can learn and everything else. So there's with data. There's two lots of data. Obviously, you've got the property data, then you've got like the consumer data, but yeah, I mean, already they're modelling it so that basically I could target and I could buy that data. I know where I could buy the information for all of those 20,000 households, and I could target that data. But there's also, again, it's the machine learning. Is this client credit stretched? Has this client had a price reduction? Has this client been in the house for more than 7 years? And basically, you know, there's probably a good chance that if you sent out a mail shot or use various omni channels, Royal Mail being one of them, yeah, I mean, if you come back and 10 people say, yeah, I want to sell my house. Now, if you were a local agent in the BR2 postcode, you could basically jump leaps and bounds above your competitors in terms of taking on new instructions. So we're looking at that, and we're also looking at the consumer data that's hitting our site as well and nurturing that. And we also want to show agents how they can nurture the data that's hitting their site. Because if I took an agent in Bromley, for example, and I said, look, you've got a big database there, you've got 10,000 consumers, but we've got 50,000 that have come on our site. Why don't we combine forces and use the various omni channels to target market, these consumers? Because I see a lot of kind of Facebook. There's a lot of the big buzz thing that I'm going to advertise my properties on Facebook, like paid ads. But a lot of agents need a bit of education on how to do that, because I've seen agents that have done that. I've done it as an agent, and I've put a Facebook ad on. It's gone to my mum, my sister, my brother. You know, what you need to
telling all of them, don't click on that, for God's sake. That's going to cost me money.
Yeah, exactly. So, and so the whole idea, what I'm saying is, if you've got all of their emails and you've got all of that data, whenever you send out a Facebook ad in that postcode, you are specifically targeting those people that are looking to buy and rent. And the same with web push-ups. And you get a web push-up on your mobile, you get a web push-up now. If something will come up in the corner of my screen, you know, once every 2 weeks, you know, have you reviewed your mortgage? Are you looking to move? Can we save you money on your mortgage? Whatever it's going to be, you know, what's the local council tax bands in the area? All of that sort of thing. You know, even where can I get a decent Boris meal for 50% off on a Wednesday night? It could even be something like that. But yeah.
I don't think Greg's have started doing it yet, but I'm keeping my eye peeled there. Those web push-ups, Chris, does that necessitate needing an app, or can that just be done from the web page itself?
That's normally if you're using sort of usually Windows, it basically. I mean, so for example, you know, I'll admit to it, I went on the Sun. You know, I read an article on the Sun online the other day. Quite an amusing article, and you know, the next day I look in the corner of my screen, I get a push up with the, you know, so it's just as simple as that, really. But as I said, as long as it's not spammy, and providing what you do is you automate that. You use various. You don't just use one marketing channel. You use several, and you spread them out, and you can automate it in specific dates. So, right, the clients come on my site. They've given me their email. 1 week they get an email, 1 week they get a Facebook ad, another week they get an Instagram ad, you know, all of that sort of thing. And that by that way, if they're looking to ever buy or sell, your name is becoming embezzled in their, you know, subconscious. And that is basically what retailers do. If you go and buy a pair of Nike trainers, that's exactly how they get you to come back and buy another pair of Nike trainers.
Chris, great to catch up with you again.
Thanks, Simon.